It's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial, and today we are painting horses. We're painting lots and lots of horses. Yes, we are back with another ultimate guide to Contrast Plus painting, and this time we're doing it just on horses. So one of the things that I think has come up quite a few times, particularly when we've been doing live chats and stuff like that, is how do you paint a bunch of horses? And well, I thought, let's just do a video where we have 15 completely different, or some will be slightly similar, but 15 different recipes for how to paint your horses to equip you for all things MESBG, Age of Sigmar, or indeed the very occasional odd horse that turns up in Warhammer 40,000, or indeed the Old World or any other horse-based miniatures. So that is exactly what we're going to be doing today. So we've got 3 sets of 5. Oh. We've got 5 over here in White Scar, 5 over here in Wraithbone, and 5 over here in Grey Seer. And this is just to show you kind of like how you can get different results from different primers. It's not that you can't use a recipe from White Scar on Grey Seer, or indeed Wraithbone on either of the other two. It's just these are different types of colours that you can use and different types of primers, and essentially how it will look as we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically paint 5 horses, 5 horses, 5 horses, and then we'll wrap things up at the end there. So come with me on a journey as we go across the plains of Rohan with our 15 horses. Starting now. We are going to kick things off with our white horses, and this is our White Scar primer horses. And for our first horse recipe, what we're going to do is we're going to start with some Nuln Oil, and we're going to apply this over top of all of the horses' flesh. With all that Nuln Oil applied, we then take some Seraphim Sepia and we apply this over top of the tail and the mane. Just whilst we're waiting for that Seraphim Sepia to dry, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Corax White. And I'm using one of my homemade stippling brushes here, but you could use a dry brush if you wanted to. And what we're going to do is we're going to gently, in a circular motion, buff on some Corax White to the flats of the muscles. So with that all done, we're then going to take some Targor Rageshade and we're going to apply this over the top of the tail and the mane. This is so that the tail and the flesh will kind of meet at a similar tone. Like that. But one thing we will also do here with the Targor Rageshade is we're going to apply this over the top of the horse's muzzle. Next up, we're then going to take some Black Legion and we're going to apply this over the top of the horse's hooves and over the top of the horse's eyes. And so with that all done, we then take some Volupus Pink and we apply this over the top of the tongue. And the teeth. So with that all done, we now take some thinned down white scar and we use this to highlight our horse's white flesh. And so with that all done, we then take some Screaming Skull. I'm going to use a tiny little dot in the back corners of the horse's eyes. Like that sort of thing. And we're going to use this to highlight the horse's teeth. So with that all done, that's horse number 1 all finished. So we're going to move on to our next one. And there's going to be this individual. And what we're going to go for here is a slightly rosier, slightly redder tinted horse. And so the colour we're going to be using first is a roughly sort of 2 parts Targor Rageshade to 1 part Lamia medium mix. And we're going to apply this over the top of the horse's flesh. Just whilst we're waiting for that Targor Rageshade layer to dry, we're going to take some Black Templar and we're going to apply this over top of the horse's tail and mane. So with that all done, we're then going to take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Lamia Medium and Agrax Earthshade. We're going to apply this over the top of the horse's flesh. We really don't want very much of this here. So with that all done, we're then going to take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Lamia Medium and Black Templar. I'm going to add some socks to our horse. So we're going to apply this like so, up to around about the knee there, like that. We're then going to wash the brush, touch off the water, and then we're just going to blend it into the rest of the skin. Like that. And with that all done, we're then going to take some Black Legion and go apply this over top of the hooves and the eyeballs once again. And with that all done, we then take some Berserker Bloodshade, and we don't need very much of this at all, because what we're going to do is we're going to use this to recess shade the horse. So with that all done, just like before, we're going to take some Rakar flesh. I'm going to use this to, well, buff up the horse. The other thing we're going to do with the Rakar flesh is we're going to use this to very gently dry brush the horsehair. So with that all done, we're then going to finish off the horse in the same way as we did before. We're going to use the Volupus pink over the top of the tongue and the teeth, and then we're going to use just a small amount of Screaming Skull to do the eye. There's two, and the teeth. 2 horses down, many to go. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go for a much brighter horse, and what we're going to do is we're going to go for a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Lamia Medium and Soulblight Grey. And we're going to apply this over the top of the horse's flesh. With that Soulblight Grey and Lamia medium mix applied, we then, once again, take some Seraphim Sepia. I'm going to apply this over top of the tail. With that all done, we then take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Black Templar and Lamia medium. We're going to apply this over top of the hooves. Like that. But what we're also going to do is we're going to apply this over top of the horse's nozzle. So with that all done, we're now going to highlight the horse. I'm going to highlight all of the horse using some thinned down white scar, including the hair and the flesh and the nozzle. Finishing up the horse bits just like we've done so far, we're now going to pop the third one to one side and we're going to work on our fourth. The colour we're going to be using first here is Mortarion Grime. We're going to be applying this over the top of the horse. With all that Mortarion Grime applied, we then take some Seraphim Sepia and we apply this over the top. With that Seraphim Sepia applied, we then take some Cygor Brown. And we're going to apply this over the top of the tail and mane. So with that all done, we're now going to take some Black Legion. I'm going to apply this over the top of the hooves and the eyeballs. And with that all done, we then take some Volupus Pink and we apply this over the top of the teeth and tongue. And so with that all done, we are then going to take some thinned down Screaming Skull. And we're going to use this to highlight the horse, do the teeth, and do the eyes. So for our fifth and final white horse, what we're going to do is we're going to do something called a blue roan. And, well, colour to start off with this one is some Drakenhof Nightshade. I'm going to be applying this over top of the entirety of the horse's flesh. With all that Drakenhof Nightshade applied, we're then going to take our roughly 1-to-1 mix of Larmian Medium and Black Templar, and we're going to apply this over top of the head, and we're going to do that blending on the legs that we did once before. As well. So with that all done, we then take that Black Legion and we're going to apply this over top of the tail, the mane, the hooves and the eyeballs. And so with that all done, we're then going to take some Nuln Oil and we're going to use this over the top of the horse's flesh, including the bits that we blended. So with that all done, rather than cover off the eyes and the mouth again, we're probably going to stop doing that in this video because it's going to be the same for all of them. What we are going to do next is we're going to take some thinned down Administratum Grey and we're going to use this to highlight the horse's flesh. So with that all done, our first 5 horses are now, well, finished. Except, we're just going to very quickly deal with all the tackle and stuff like that. And we're only going to film this once. So what we're going to do is we're going to be starting off, because these are Rohan horses, is we're going to be starting off with some Dark Angels Green. And we're going to be applying this over the top of the saddle blanket, which is this bit under here. So with that Dark Angels Green all applied, because the riders generally cover up the entirety of the saddle and we're rarely ever going to see it, what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Cygor Brown. We're just going to apply this over the top of the saddle. You could of course use any brown that you want, but because it's so flat and wide open, just easier to use a base or a layer paint here. And so with that all done, we then take some Cygor Brown and we're going to apply this over top of all the rest of the leather strapping. So with that all done, we're then going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors. I'm going to apply this over top of the head armor, as well as the bit in the horse's mouth and any other little metallic-y bits. And so with that all done, we're then going to take some Nuln Oil. I'm going to use this to shade the silver. And so with that all done, we then take some thinned down Iron Breaker. We use this to highlight all that silver. So there we have it. 5 completed White Scar primed horses. So, as mentioned before, all of these will work on the other 2 primers that we've got coming up next, which naturally you could go and use these exact recipes on those. However, that's not what we're going to do. We're going to do 5 very different recipes for the Grey Seer and the Wraithbone. And the next ones we're going to work on are going to be the Grey Seer ones. So we'll be back in just a moment. Then 5 Grey Seer horses, and we're going to do the simplest one first, which is going to be some Black Legion that we're going to apply over the top of the entirety of the horse. So with that all done, we then take some thinned down Dawnstone, and we use this to highlight the horse. So with that all done, we're going to pop this horse to one side because, well, we're going to finish off the mouth and the eyes in the exact same way as we've done 5 times already. So our next horse is going to be this one, and the colour we're going to be using is a roughly 4 parts Rattling Grime to 2 parts Larmian Medium. We're applying this over the top of all the horse's flesh. With our Rattling Grime all applied, we're then going to take some Black Templar. We'll apply this over top of the hair and the mane. So with that all done, we're now going to take some Targor Rageshade, and we're going to apply this over the top of the horse's legs. So with that all done, we're now going to take some thinned down Corax stone. I'm going to use this to highlight our horse. So with that all done, once again, we're going to finish that one off a little bit later in the same style as what we've already done. So what we're going to do next, we're going to do something a little bit more adventurous. And we're going to take some Reichland Flesh Shade first of all. I'm going to apply this over top of the horse's nozzle. So with that all done, we're then going to take some Nuln Oil. And we're going to apply this over the top of the horse tail, mane, and over the top of the horse's socks. And so with that Nuln Oil all applied, we're then going to take a roughly 2 parts Basilicanum Grey to 1 part Lahmian Medium mix. We're going to apply this over the top of all of the horse's flesh, excluding the socks where we've done the Nuln Oil. So with that all done, we're then going to take one of our DIY stippling brushes, this one here, it's a medium shade brush, we've clipped all the bristles off, and over the kind of hind quarters, what we're going to do is we're going to gently stipple some Administratum Grey. And we're going to build this up really slowly. Just like that sort of thing. And with that Administratum Grey stippling done, we're then going to stipple on some Corax White. I'm going to be really gentle here. And a bit more sparse with it. Like that. But what we're also going to do is we're going to add some of this to the front legs and neck as well. And if you're feeling extra fancy, you can also use the Corax White to dry brush the tail and mane. So with that all done, our dapple grey horse now goes into the to be completed shortly pile. And what we're going to do next is a horse breed called a Tobiano horse, which is this sort of, well, they almost look like black and white cows, for lack of a better term. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a roughly 4 parts Black Legion to 1 part Lahmian Medium mix. And we're basically just going to draw in markings all over the horse. So I'm going to start here on the hind quarters, and I'm going to draw a sort of patch like this, and then I'm going to go for another one like this sort of thing. And so with that all done, we then take some Nuln Oil and we apply this over the top of the horse's flesh, but not the mane or the tail. Unless you've got a white mane or tail. So with that all done, we're going to highlight the white parts with some Corax White. And so with that all done, we then take some thinned down Dawnstone and we use this to highlight the black details. So another one bites the dust. So we go on to our fifth and final Grey Seer pony. And what we're going to do is going to take some Cygor Brown. Nice and simple. On its own. No fuss, no muss. That Cygor Brown all applied, we're then going to take some Black Legion. I'm going to apply this over the top of the tail and mane. So with that all done, we're now going to take some thinned down Blood Reaver flesh. We're going to use this to highlight the horse. And so with that done, we're then going to take a tiny amount of Corax White. I'm going to use this just to add some little white hem ankle socks to our horse by just doing lots of little tiny lines. Like this sort of thing. So we've gone ahead and we've finished off the saddles and the silver and all that kind of stuff in the same style as what we did before, and as you can see, our Grey Seer horses are now all finished. There's our first three, and we have our other two just here as well. So there we go. So with our Grey Seer horses done, it means it's now time to move on to the Wraithbone ones. 5 of the finest Wraithbone horses, and, well, some of these colours are going to be quite familiar, but these are arguably the easiest schemes for horses, because there's going to be a whole lot of brown here. So, the first one that we're going to do is on this individual, and the colour we're going to be using first is a roughly 4 parts Cygor Brown to 2 parts Larmian Medium mix. I'm going to apply this over top of all of the horse's flesh. So with that all done, we then take some Cygor Brown. We don't thin this one down, and we just apply this over top of the hair and the mane. And so with that all done, we then take some Seraphim Sepia, and we use this to shade the horse's flesh. So with that all done, it's already a great looking horse, but what we want to do is we just want to take a little bit of black Templar, and just over the top of the back socks, we're just going to apply some of this black Templar, like so. Wash the brush, touch off the water, and then just blend it into the brown. So that's one down. So our next horse is going to be this one. The colour we're going to be using first for this is a roughly 2 parts Gorgrunter fur to 1 part Larmian medium mix. So with that all done, we're then going to take some Seraphim Sepia once again. And we're going to use this to colour in the tail and the mane, but we are also going to use this to shade the horse's flesh. So with that all done, similarly to before, we're going to take some thinned down Corax White. I'm going to use this to give our horse some little white socks by just doing some little lines. So with that all done, we'll pop that one to one side and we'll move on to our next horse. And the colour I'm going to be using here to begin with is Gorgrunter Fur once again. Only this time what we're going to do is we're going to go for a roughly 4 parts Gorgrunter Fur to 1 part Lahmian Medium. I'm going to apply this all over the top of the horse. And so with that all done, we're then going to apply a second coat of 4 parts Gorgrunter Fur to 1 part Lahmian Medium. So with that all done, we're then going to add a shade. It's going to be some Reichland Flesh Shade. And we're going to apply this over the top. And so with that all done, we're then going to take some Black Legion. I'm going to apply this over top of the tail and the mane. So with that all done, our next colour is going to be some Black Templar. And what we're going to do here is we're going to apply over the top of the horse's socks. And we're going to do a little bit of a blend. So we're going to come up to around about the knee. Like that. I'm going to wash the brush. Touch off the water. And then we're just going to blend it around the joint just there. Like so. And we're going to do this across all 4 legs. However, the other thing we're also going to do with the Black Templar is we're going to apply this over top of his nuzzle. So with that one sock done, over the top of the nuzzle. Just in there, like so. And so with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Corax White. And we're going to use this to add some little white socks on his hind legs by once again just adding some little lines. So with those Corax White socks all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Deathkorps Brown. I'm going to use this just to add some little highlights to the horse's brown flesh. So with that Deathclaw Brown all applied, we then take a tiny amount of Dawnstone, and we're going to use this to highlight the black areas. So that's another horse into the done pile. So our next horse is going to be it's going to be kicking off with a paint that we've used quite a lot in this video so far. It is, of course, going to be some Seraphim Sepia. And we're going to be applying this over top of the entirety of the horse. So we're going to be applying this over top of the horse's flesh and the mane and tail as well. So with all that Seraphim Sepia applied, what we're then going to do is we're going to take a roughly 2 parts Reichland Flesh Shade to 1 part Larmian Medium mix. And we're going to apply this over the top of all of the horse's skin, but not the horse's hair. And so with that all done, like we've done so many times before in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Corax White. I'm going to use this to give our horse some white socks. However, this one, we're going to go a little bit further up, closer towards the knee. So with that Corax White applied, we actually also applied some to the nose as well. But that's another horse into the done pile. So we come to our 15th horse, which is this individual. And the colour we're going to be using is a roughly 2 parts Garagax Sewer to 1 part Larmian Medium mix. We're going to be applying this over top of all of the horse's flesh. With that Agrax all applied, we then take some Agrax Earthshade. I'm going to apply this over top of the tail and the mane. And so with that all done, we're then going to take some Reichland Flesh Shade. And we're going to apply this over top of both the horse flesh and the tail and the mane. So with that Reichland Flesh Shade all applied, what we're then going to do is we're going to take our DIY stippling brush and some Steel Legion Drab. And we're going to very gently stipple some Steel Legion Drab over the top of the flesh of the horse. And so with that Steel Legion Drab stippling all done, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some Corax Stone. We're going to do the same thing over the top, we're just going to go a little bit lighter. Just like this sort of thing. And so, to quote Lord of the Rings, here we are at the end of all things. And I've just thrown up the generic paints that we used for like the horse's tack and stuff like that here as well, because I realize we haven't had a good space in the video to do that. But there we go, 15 of the finest horse recipes for you to enjoy and to use on your own horses. And like I said in the video throughout, you can use any of these on any of the primers. So it's pretty cool. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so by heading to patreon.com/warhipster, just like all of these wonderful, amazing people have done. And alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button below, exactly like these fabulous folks have done, scrolling up on the screen before you. There are so many of you out there that it really takes my breath away, and I cannot thank you enough for everything you do, as without you I wouldn't be able to keep making these Contrast Plus videos. And if you really like this video and you want to send me a little thanks, just click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.